Hey guys, I'm back here with another video. I got the passenger side all squared away. I figured I'd show you guys that. It wasn't as bad as I thought. It was to a degree. The inner fender panel had to be moved back in there. Had to be moved back that way, 5/16 of an inch. But I got that taken care of. That required removing the inner brace and stuff like that. But I got that squared away, and you could see down the side of the car now. She's perfect. I did run into the same problem on this side with the quarter. And what I've come to figure out is the quarters are aftermarket. The problem is whoever installed them didn't make sure it was tight, and that's what I'm going to show you. That's why I'm making this video for you guys. So I'm going to walk over here to the driver's side, the side that I started on, and I'm going to show you. So I've cut this one, okay, and I cut it on my tape line that I had scribed, so I marked it out so I would follow my line. As you come down here, once I started looking, you guys see that gap right there between that sheet metal? The weld protruded through, and he didn't have this sandwiched tight. And it's very difficult if you don't have long clamps to get in there and sandwich it tight. So the problem became, he beat this edge in, like I told you, on the back side of it, which folded it like that, and he just filled the weld. When I cut it, sure enough, the weld was sticking in there. I took my blade and I ran it in there. And if you look at that gap, I've got to move it back to the tape. But if you look at the sheet metal that's inside there, it's right there with that tape. You see? That's where the door needs to be. And this is going to be a taper deal. So as I cut this tape, it's on a taper. So as you come up with your saw, I'll show you guys. So a lot of people come up like this, and then you have the thickness of the blade up here, which I'm still going to have a little bit. But as you come up, you want to start rolling this to the side, because what's going to happen, it's going to fold here, and I'm just going to basically just move it underneath the metal a little bit and then weld it. This is all going to move to the outside of the metal, so it's going to be a smooth transition. But once I dove into this, as you can see, this is the problem. And I had one of you guys reach out. I can't recall the name or the person, but said I need to kind of explain some of this. And I'm going to show you guys. This is why people in this industry, when we tell you it's time and material, that is the reason why. Yes, the quarter panel looks straight on the car. Yes, everything fits pretty well except the door. Most people think we just got to line the door. What they don't understand is what's going on behind the scenes. That's behind the scenes. So just to give you guys a ballpark, and I'm not even sure, I mean, I work pretty fast, but somebody, for your average guy to cut that, knock it back, TIG weld it, metal finish it to where it's back to normal, that's 2 to 3 hours. You do anybody's shop rate. I don't care if it's $50 an hour. You're now at $150 just to cut that and weld it on top of that deal. That's not counting if you have consumables, grinding disc, welding gas that you tack on. So this is like an insight to some people that see these television shows that, oh man, they build a car in 30 days and this and that for a certain price. No, you guys are being lied to. This stuff takes time, and me, professionals, whoever, however you want to, put them in a group or whatever, we don't see that. We know that the door won't align, so we align the door. When we align the door, that's going to tell us what it needs to happen. Like I said, if we go off this pillar, this isn't always true, but depends how bad the car is. But this car, this has never been touched. It's not it's who hung this quarter panel. That door, the A-pillar has not been moved. The hinge bracket inside has not been touched. That's all factory. And I have movement to go forward, back, up, down, whatever. So when you guys see something like this, and a lot of people, I had somebody reach out that you can't strictly go off the quarter. And you can and you can't. There's two ways. If it's totally wadded up, don't even try. But this is where that door has to go. And if he would have fixed this problem down here, that gap would have been perfect. That's why I said go off this. I could put fenders on and all that, but that's not going to tell you. If I put the fenders on, there's slots to go forward, back, side to side in the fenders. I could put those on all day long. I mean, I've done minivans when I was in college that'd been hit by trash trucks, and I cut the whole quarter panel off and I put it all back on, and everything worked correctly. So there's certain points on a car that you have to start on. And what I'm getting at is this is a fixed point. This is not going to change. This door has to have a certain gap here at all times. Up here, the fenders have room to slide. The quarter panel does not. The quarter panel is fixed. So this is where it becomes, some people's like, oh, you have to have it all lined and do measurements. You do to a degree. But I mean, I've replaced front ends of race cars on a flat steel plate. And you do need measurements for certain pickup points, but for quarter panels, and it depends who you get them through. These are aftermarket. I think they're good mark. I wouldn't say they're the best. They're okay, but there are problems. And this could be the installer's problem, because the way the quarter panel fits, it actually slips over and it ties in back in here, and it has to fit in here for the window. So if this all fits good, you're thinking the rest of the quarter panel fits good. It's not true. The way these quarter panels fit, when you put them on, you actually kind of have to tweak them and twist them to get perfect lines. I usually, when I hang a quarter panel, I usually start at the door and make sure that's gapped pretty decent. Then I go around and check my other areas. If it's off there, I can fix that. Like this quarter panel, when I get to it, I don't know if you guys can see it in the video. Yeah, you can. See how that's supposed to be a continuous line. See that jog that's blown out? When you put the stainless on, there's like a 3/16 of an inch gap there. I could fill this with metal and fix all this. To me, that's easy. Okay? Something like this is considered, you know, a medium style task, an easy task for me. For most people, they're like, I'm not cutting this quarter panel. That's the only way you're going to do it, unless you cut that whole quarter panel off and realign it. And you guys like, oh, well, that's the correct way. Well, I hate to tell you, but by the time you drill out all those spot welds and everything, you just destroyed, and then use an air chisel or a chisel to break all those spot welds loose, I guarantee you just destroyed that quarter panel. It's easier to do something like this than it is to replace that quarter panel. That quarter panel, I mean, some of them can go up in the thousands, some, you know, a couple $100, but then you spend my labor to do all that. This is going to sure beat it. But I wanted to share this with you guys now that I got it all squared away. I'm going to tackle this side and obviously get it hammered back and make sure the door gap's good, and I'll tack it, make sure the door gap's still good, and go from there. But as you can see, I got the front end on, and this is where I'm going to tell you about aftermarket panels. This fits really well. This is the correct measurement from side to side. This is the problem with aftermarket. That thing should be a certain length because that fits perfect. It's like this on both sides, folks. So be aware when you go to buy panels, buy them from a reputable person. Just because everybody, you see at all these commercials and stuff that say whoever it is, don't trust them. Do your research. AMD is one of the best in the country. I've done a 69 Charger. That thing fit like a glove. When I got done, it looked like it came from the factory. So their panels are stamped correctly, and they're starting to venture out in different makes and models. There's other companies that specify in one, and they try to get in everybody else's deal, and this is what you end up with. So I'm just telling you guys, do your research, but I wanted to share this video with you guys. This is how not to hang a quarter panel, as you can see, and I'm going to get back to getting this thing squared away, and hopefully he could pick this thing up maybe towards the end of the week, which I'm in the middle of, so maybe Friday or Saturday. So you guys stick around. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's just a little insight of you've got to make sure all this is tight, and when you hang a quarter panel, you definitely need a door on, because if it gets tight at one end and your door's already hung correctly, then you're going to find a problem. So you guys stay tuned. If you're not a subscriber, click the link below. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. I'd appreciate it, so I kind of know which content you guys like viewing. And I will get started on this, and then if I run into the same problem on the passenger side, which more than likely is going to be because he did it on the driver's side, he figured it'd be okay just to hammer it back and weld it. I'm sure I'm going to run into the same thing. So if I find something different on that side, I'll make a video on that. If not, the next video I'll be posting, which if I stay smooth sailing, I should get both those wrapped up. We'll be coming in and filling these and getting these squared away, which means I'm gonna have to drill them out, knock them up, tack them, re-weld them, stuff like that, and then fix this. And then this is off to the customer where he could start putting it together and doing what he wants to do to it. So you guys stay tuned, and I hope you guys like this video, and I'm gonna keep you guys updated on this Cuda. All right, guys, so I got it all cut and welded, and I was correct. As you can see, I weld this just like I do everything else. You got to move around, otherwise it's going to warp the quarter panel, but I got it all done. I didn't end up drilling out the spot welds in there because as I cut it and I banged it back, I figured if I could just weld it, you know, 3/4 of an inch and then bounce around the heat transfer, and it's totally flat, or you know, smooth still. But as you can see, the door gap is perfect. And this gap to me is a little big. It's probably maybe a 64th off from the front. But that just gives me movement to go further back too, and I'd rather have that type of gap so I could adjust this door accordingly instead of being way too tight and chip and paint. So I got this side finished. As you can see, it's totally smooth with the quarter and the door, and it's all fixed up. And then obviously I finished up that, moved my tools over for tomorrow, and let me turn this light off. So you can see, it's kind of hard to see because the car is black, but you can see right there, this is doing the same thing. And that's gonna basically, I start out with fine line tape, like pinstriping tape, and I basically get my, you know, my gap, which this one's a 1/4 inch. And I start up here where it's a 1/4, and I just basically lay it to where it matches the door. Wherever it sticks to the 1/4, it sticks to the 1/4. Then I come in, and when this tape was on this side and this 1-inch tape wasn't here, I went in there with a scribe, and I scribed right up against the tape. And then before I pulled this tape, I put this 1-inch right up against this tape, and then it identifies it. When I pull the 1/4 inch off, it identifies exactly where I need to cut. So down here is nothing, up here is nothing, and in here I mean it's a good 3/16 of an inch that I'm gonna have to cut and bang back. So I was right on the deal. All it's gonna do is give me a little bit more movement on front to back on the door, but tomorrow I'm gonna tackle this, and I'll whip this side out, and I'll be starting on the back window to get all this stuff, or this piece here, and then obviously the back package tray. And other than that, it's just got to bolt on the rear valence, and the customer can take this Butte home and do what he wants to do with it. Now that the doors open and close, the fenders fit perfect, the doors are going to fit perfect. And once I cut this door here, I mean, that's pretty consistent. I like that gap. It's basically dead on a 1/4. So if I can get the back the same way, if it moves just a skosh further, it's just gonna, you just split the difference in the window that we're putting the door in. But hope you guys like this video. Now that it's finished, I know some of you guys want to see me in the process of doing it, but I mean, I cut on my line. I mean, it's kind of self-explanatory, and I could sit here and burn up video time. If that's what you guys want, let me know, of me actually sitting there cutting, grinding, welding, and basically just grinding the welds down and then hitting it with the DA. If that's what you guys want to see, I'm game for it. I will definitely start doing that. But I just figured, I mean, I don't know if you guys are going to sit here and watch an hour-long video. I mean, I could scrub it to where it's, fast-paced, but it's pretty much the same thing. You're not going to see see me actually doing it because it's going so fast. But if that's what you guys want to see, I can maybe do a small clip of me actually doing a little bit of it. Not so much of the welding part, but more of the like cutting, you know, a little bit of that, a little bit of welding, and then a little bit of grinding, and then after that a little bit of hammer and dolling, just to kind of fine tune that line, because you could push some back, and then if you hit on top, you could hit it with a spoon and kind of flatten it back out. But if that's what you guys want to see, let me know, and hope this video kind of helps you guys hang in some of the body panels and stuff like that. So stay tuned, and I'll have some more on this Cuda.